Hey, so I wanted to jump on here and attempt to answer a question that I got from someone who follows my blog and my Facebook group. And she asked the question, is it safe to live in a tiny house? And I thought, that's a really great question. I have never been asked that question, and it's so important. So thank you for asking it. So when I think of safety, I really think of three categories. So that's what we're going to delve into today, are those three categories that come to my mind when I think of safety. The first one is physical safety. Do I physically feel safe living in my tiny house? And the answer is yes. A lot of that has to deal with the fact of where we've put our house, the environment in which we have set our house. We live in a tiny house community, so we're surrounded by people who are very like-minded, very willing to help one another out, and we've grown those relationships. So I know that I can go to my left or to my right and immediately have help. And then also we're kind of in the country, so not a lot of through traffic, and it's pretty quiet out here. Small town feel. So yes, I physically feel safe in my tiny house. Plus I have two giant dogs that I don't think anyone would want to go against. The second thing that I think of with safety is the structural soundness of my tiny house. So was my tiny house built to safety standards? And as a mama, this was really, really important to me. So I needed to know that my electrical was done professionally, that my plumbing was done professionally. And I didn't want to worry about a wire fire or a flood or whatever else that could happen had I tried to DIY that, or had someone who had not known what they were doing had done it for me. So that is something for you to think about and be aware of. So a lot of tiny homes out there are DIY. If you cannot get the standards to which that house was built, I would highly recommend that you bring someone out to check it out. Just have them walk through, look at the house as a whole, maybe check your wiring, check your plumbing, make sure that is all done correctly so that you can have the peace of mind and just live there and enjoy it. Also, when we were designing this house, it was really important that the layout of this house promoted safety. And for me, that came in egress options. So if there was a fire, how would we exit the house? And I wanted two egress options within every space, and I consider us having about 5 spaces in this house. So really, really focused and purposeful in making sure that those egress exits were available to us. Finally, the final category that I think of is really more environmental or elemental. So the weather, high winds, tornadoes, earthquakes, are the wheels going to fall off? So I live in Kansas in the Missouri area, and the threat of tornadoes is real. I would never, ever stay in my tiny house if we had severe weather like that. I don't care if you anchor your tiny house down, that is a battle a tiny house is never going to win. So I made sure that we had a strategy for safety in those instances. And I have a straight shot to the storm shelter. Probably could get there in about 15 seconds if I needed to. So if you know you're going to live in a place that maybe has really high winds, you want to make sure that you're anchoring your house down. If you know that you live in a place that has a threat of tornadoes, you want to make sure that you have access to a storm shelter or some other type of shelter that could protect you in that. So really just pay attention to the environment in which you're placing yourself and have a plan. Always have a plan. And then finally, there were a couple things that I did to make myself feel better and more prepared when it came to safety. So making sure you have a good lock, solid locks and on your doors and your windows. You can get a camera system if you want. You can get them off of Amazon now. They're super cheap. It's not a big deal of getting camera systems now. So if that makes you feel more comfortable, do that. For me, I had to have a fire alarm and a carbon monoxide alarm. Super important. Please, please, please put these in your tiny houses. And then because we have a tankless water heater that is ran on propane, I also wanted to get a natural gas alarm, and it's a detector. And propane is a heavy gas, so it sinks. And so I have it down near the bottom of my washer dryer area, right where that tankless water heater is right above it. So if any leaks occur, I'm gonna know. And then we can take the necessary steps to make sure that we're safe. So that's a lot of information in about 6 minutes, but I hope that it helps you prepare so that you feel safe and secure in your tiny home. And I hope it becomes a haven for you, just like our tiny house has become for us. All right, keep asking those questions. Thanks for your support and love.